Let's talk about some discussion ideas for the book, The First State of Being, science fiction for middle grade readers. Hi, I'm Mary Wilson. I am an Outschool book club teacher. And after having led book clubs for my own children for many, many years, I now lead monthly fiction book clubs online on Outschool. I also lead graphic novel book clubs, but we're focusing on the fiction book club this week. And last week, my 11 to 13-year-old book club discussed The First State of Being. All right, this book is a really fun science fiction book for 11 to 13-year-olds. And I just want to give you some ideas for discussing this book with your kids. All right, I'm going to give you 4 ideas. The first one is to discuss the main character, Michael. I talked with my book club about how this is a coming of age story. And what does that mean? Because middle grade readers are the target audience for coming of age stories. So they're often going to see those main characters in their book grow up, mature, change in significant ways. So that's what we discussed first. How do we see Michael change from the beginning of the book to the end of the book? And they talked about things like his anxiety became lessened. He learned to accept things that were out of his control. He learned to recognize it. He learned to live in the present, the first state of being. See what I mean when you read it? He became a little more brave, more outgoing, more confident, all of those kinds of things. And then we talked about who were the influences on him to mature and develop in these ways? What were some things said to him that he thought about and kind of took in? Okay, the next thing is the writing style. So this book takes place in 1999, but there is time travel. And I don't want to say a whole lot, but throughout the book, there are documents, there are conversations, descriptions from the future, from a year far in the future. And so one of the things we talked about is how did they like that style of writing, kind of jumping to the future and back. And when they were in the future, it was more like nonfiction reading. It wasn't as narrative. And we talked about what were the point of these conversations that we got a peek into. What was the point of the science debate that we got to see? There was a debate recorded about time travel. Why would the author include that? The conversations that Ridge's family was having, the definitions and descriptions of things. And some of the things we talked about were bringing Ridge as a character a little more to life, giving us a glimpse into his world, which really is kind of the science fiction part. That's where we find all the technology. We get that little peek into some of that future technology. We talked about it. The science debate, we talked a little bit about it, adding believability to time travel. Just like in our year, 2024, we debate AI, machine learning, different ways to incorporate that. That is the science that is up for debate in our time. So by seeing a debate in the future, it made it a little more believable. Another fun conversation is obviously the title. It's incorporated into the book to talk about what is the first state of being, and was it a great title? And then we talked a lot about this cover. I'm going to let you in on a few things that you may or may not have noticed. First of all, this cover is kind of upside down. This here, see these ripples? These are a reflection. This is actually the feet walking in the puddle, and this is the reflection in the puddle. And you'll notice that one person's footprints are missing. So we talked a lot about what was already going on in this cover, why it may have been designed that way, because it's a really fun one to kind of look at and explore in light of the story in the book, why maybe this person is only shown as like a reflection, like was he even there? And then he created ripples in that time period. All right, I don't want to say too much. In fact, the last thing I'm going to suggest that you discuss are the aha moments at the end of the book. Because with a time travel book, the author needs to have a point to the time travel. Why did it happen? And one of the main concerns of Ridge the character who time travels, is that he does not impact the timeline, but he does. And I don't want to say much. So we discussed what were those moments where we see his impact. What do we discover? What are those aha moments at the end about who each of these characters are in the future and why it's significant? Specifically, there's a piece of paper that Ridge is named after. Be sure to be looking for the aha moment there. And then look at the Lego contest and how it turned out that way. I know I'm being really cryptic, but you kind of have to be. All right, this was a really fun one. I hope you enjoy your discussion. Below, you'll find links to my OutSchool teacher page if you want to check out my classes. Typically, my fiction book clubs and my graphic novel book clubs are full, so I will also link to a waiting list, but you can always send me a message on OutSchool and ask to join the waiting list for any specific club. So most of my classes you're going to find on my teacher page down at the bottom in a section called by request because they are full. So you can check out the class description, see the other titles we're reading, and you can always send me a note to join the waiting list. All right, happy reading and discussing with your own children.